And we're joined now by Blazers assistant coach Kim Hughes. And, Coach, in the last segment, Tone said, I know the coaches didn't have a day off today, even though the players didn't have any practice. Can you verify your activity for the day?
Actually, Tony's a very smart man. The day off means day off for the veterans who play max minutes. A lot of the young guys were in there, and actually I got to torture Meyers Leonard for about an hour and a half. If you ask him if it was an off day, he probably wants to shoot somebody right now.
Hey, Coach, I have a feeling just being around you guys and watching your interaction, you get great pleasure out of torturing Meyers Leonard.
I do, because they talk a big game about what they can do, and then I'll let them show me on the court, and they don't ever show me. So I love the banter with players. I love the constant camaraderie. It's really what draws me to the sport, because you can't get that in any other type of business.
You learn a lot from body language, and watching Meyers on the bench, he still seems engaged and trying to be supportive of his teammates and so forth. But when the season began, he thought he was going to be a part of the rotation. How is he handling the fact that he isn't getting the playing time that he got in his rookie season, and what is he doing in terms of are you pleased with his work ethic in terms of trying to get some of that playing time back?
I do like his work ethic. He is a driven kid. He did expect minutes like a lot of the young guys did. We had a very bad bench last year, and they were awarded minutes that they didn't deserve. So none of them should have assumed that they were going to be garnering those type of minutes on the court this year. They need to be earned. And Joel Freeland has just played so well. It's been incredible that it's tough to steal his minutes. So Meyers has to wait on the outside in terms of an injury, or if Truck Robinson wavers at all, then he can steal those minutes. And the teammate has been terrific, very positive, very supportive, and honestly, this is one of the best teams I've ever been in terms of chemistry. The guys, I don't say they love each other, but they really respect each other, and they really have a certain kind of feel for each other, which you don't find in most NBA teams.
You know, Coach, we were talking along those lines. We were talking in the first segment about practice time, practice habits for good teams. And when I was here in Portland, we had a great team. And we said this earlier. We felt like we wanted practices to be so intense, not so hard, not trying to hurt each other, but so intense that when we got a chance to play against somebody else, it almost seemed easy. I've seen a couple of practices. This team, they go at one another in practice.
They do, but I think your team was more aggressive that way. I don't know. I don't think we have the practice players that you guys did, but what we do have is the unselfishness on offense and defense, which you don't always get. I think our guys like to compete against each other, but I think you guys took it to a whole new level. These guys, I don't think they necessarily like practice, but they love to play games, and I love the fact that a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge, who is the best power forward in basketball right now, he gets the ball in the low block. He embraces a double team, swings the ball. He may not get the assist because we'll make two more swing passes, but he makes the play on the post, which you need. And this year is just night and day compared to last year.
Yeah, you were around last season, and LaMarcus obviously earned his second trip to an All-Star game. But this year he's already been Western Conference Player of the Week twice. He's putting up a double-double, averaging a career high in points and rebounds. He's talked more about being a leader, says he's having more fun than he's ever had in the NBA. Can you speak to a guy that was pretty good last year but seems even greater this season?
He's better because his defense is better. His offense is basically the same. He played at a very high level last year, and I thought he was terrific. But this year defensively, and perhaps it's because of Robin Lopez having his back. If LaMarcus went for a block shot last year, or our center last year wouldn't steal or take care of his man, and it caused us a lot of difficulty. Well, this year we have a crazy man in the middle that he protects the paint, and he doesn't allow any layups, which we love. And it makes LaMarcus a better defender. And the same thing goes for LaMarcus. He's making Robin a better defender because Robin knows if he goes to challenge a shot that LaMarcus will clean up after him.
You know, Coach, you just brought up something that kind of goes unnoticed, and that is the effect of having that big center in the middle. Robin Lopez doesn't average tremendous numbers, but what you just said, he will clog up the paint, and I've tried to allude to perimeter defenders get better when you have a center in the middle of the paint because as a guard, you're more hesitant to drive there because you know you're going to feel contact.
Without question. I think we're last in the league in causing steals. you know, Nick is a very good defender. He could perhaps get a lot more steals if that's what we wanted. We don't have any interest in going for steals, denying wing passes. Our interest is to protect the paint. That's most important for us. So Nick could probably garner those types of stats. But we want our guys to contain. Damian Lillard has done a much better job of point guards on the paint, which I think is the most difficult thing in basketball. And Wes is such a competitor. We just are better defensively because guys have worked at it, and they feel more confident because Robin and or LA will clean up if they penetrate. We've given up some easy baskets against teams like Phoenix because they hurt us for some reason. Stretch four who has ability to shoot the three presents problems for our team without question. It bothers us. But for the most part, I think we've done a good job stopping easy baskets and keeping guys out of the paint.
You mentioned the bench, and obviously vastly improved from last season. Speak to the intangible elements. Mo Williams and Earl Watson, it seems like they bring a bravado, a swagger that this Blazers team didn't have last season, and maybe that's what in some ways has accounted for the great start, a great belief in within the group that this is a pretty good team, and obviously the results are showing it on the court too.
It certainly has helped. In terms of Earl, he's like a coach on the floor, very tough. He basically goes at Mo every day in practice and really punishes them. I mean, that's his glory, is to make sure who's ever guarding him in practice suffers, because Earl is a tough kid. He is tough. Where Mo is a speedster, he creates up-tempo in the games, and sometimes he has some turnovers, and frankly, it's because the other guys in the team aren't running with him, trying to make plays one-on-two, one-on-three, because the rest of our guys aren't running the way they should with him. But Mo makes big shots. He's a mid-range jumper, jump shooter that doesn't mind if someone puts a hand in his face. He has no fear, and he has an incredible innate ability to make big shots, which he does for us all the time.
And he completely changes versus last year. He's completely changed what you're able to do as a coaching staff, because you can play Mo with you can play him with Dame, you can play him with Wes, you can play him with Nick, you can play three small guys. You know, you got the versatility he brings, and what he allows you to do with Damian Lillard has really changed the way this team plays.
Without question, it just gives us so many options. I did a scouting report for Dallas, and what I found difficult for us to guard them is have so many guys that can play various positions. It's such a tough cover for a team to try to have to plan for that. And Mo can play one or two, and West can play 1, 2, or 3 at times. And Nick, honestly, can guard a 1, 2, 3, or 4. He has that ability. He may not have the strength, but he can front the low block, and he can get away with it. And I thought he did a good job. He picked sometimes he was guarding Nowitzki in our game against Dallas. So when you have guys that can play multiple positions, it just makes coaching so much easier.
Speaking of tough guys, you would certainly qualify as one. A lot of people probably familiar with the health concerns that you had in training camp that you had to overcome. Tell us how you're feeling, and hopefully all those things we hope are behind you.
I'm great. I 3 days ago I stopped packing the wound. It's sealed up enough where it's not bleeding. Still a little bit gory, but it doesn't bleed, which is very nice. And my strength is good. My voice, if I talk too much or if I try to yell, my voice gets very hoarse, but it's getting better all the time. And that's just a result of having 3 tubes down my throat for 2 weeks, which isn't very pleasant. But I feel really good, and I don't feel stronger every day like I did the first 6 weeks, but the last 3 I've gotten better weekly. So life is pretty good.
So your days as a swimsuit model may be recurring again.
I may not take that shirt off at the beach this year. I may wait for the scars to heal for 1 more year.
Well, 18-4. You as a coaching staff in a different position than you were a season ago. You were trying to encourage your club to believe that they had a chance, especially when they went up against quality teams in the league. Now you guys are a little bit more of the hunted as opposed to the hunters. Is it a different mindset as you prepare these guys for games? It seems like they're taking their success in stride and not getting too full of themselves.
You know, we've talked about the fact that this could be a pretty good year. We've talked about it privately, and I think most of us felt that way. But I think we'd all be lying if we wouldn't say we're surprised at this record. But what we've had the ability to do is